What's up, everyone? We are just about 40 hours away from the Fox Valley Marathon. I am extremely excited, definitely nervous, but there really isn't anything to be nervous about anymore. I've done everything I can. I'm as fit as I'm going to be, and now we just get the start line healthy, fuel up, rest up, and leave it all out there. I've been checking the weather. It seems like it's going to be pretty decent for a race, at least to start. Temperatures are supposed to be like 62, around 7. There's a little chance for rain, which doesn't bother me as long as the course is, not slippery with leaves, but I think we should be fine. So I cannot wait. I am so ready to get out there. It's been a year and a half essentially since I've raced anything, and so I am itching to compete. So this is going to be a great day. Again, try not to get too high or low in emotion right now. Just keep level-headed, do what I can, and keep myself off my feet and get ready for Sunday. This morning I had just an easy 4-mile run, shake it out. Tomorrow, just like 2.5 miles with a couple of strides just to get my legs moving, and then nothing for the rest of the day. I'm going to sit back, relax, eat a lot of food, and then get to bed, and we'll be okay. I have been tracking my carbs a little bit. I have never done that before, so this is a little new to me. Yesterday, I was around 750 to 800. I logged in MyFitnessPal. It had me at about 760, but I'm giving myself, 20 to 30 grams either way, just because there's a lot, that could alter with the measuring. So I was a little surprised, to be honest. I think that that's something that I need to be paying attention to a lot closer next time I do a prep, because I was a lot more conscious of how many carbs I'm eating right now during my taper, and I was never that conscious, before. I didn't really track, so I have a feeling that during my prep I probably was not consuming as many carbs as I should have been. So that is a good eye-opener for me, especially, like I said, for next prep. Today I'm shooting for at least 800 is my plan, and then depending on how I feel with that, I'm going to probably do around the same tomorrow, the day before the race. I do want to maximize my glycogen stores, but I also don't want to make myself sick overeating. Again, I've never done this before, so it's a learning curve for sure. But it's good information to know for next time. So yeah, just had a little lunch. Had 2 sandwiches. I had a peanut butter and honey sandwich and an egg sandwich, and then some dried mango bites and a smoothie with banana, frozen fruit, honey, orange juice, a little protein in there. So feeling really, really good. Again, super excited, super nervous, but again, there's nothing to worry about right now. We're just gonna leave it all out there once the time comes. So I'll bring you along tomorrow as well, as we get the last little shakeout run in and fuel up, and then it's go time. Everyone, it is about that time. We are like 23.5 hours out from the start line. Just finished a quick shakeout run, about 2.5 miles with some strides in there. I'm feeling fantastic. But like I said yesterday, my main focus right now, one, just get to the start line healthy. I'm there basically, but just getting there healthy, fueling up today, staying off my feet, and just staying level-headed. I've shared before, this has been quite a long journey. My last marathon was almost 2 years ago, exactly today. So it's been a while. Sub 3 in a BQ. Now sub 220, 255 has been the goal for forever. And so just trying to stay level-headed. Yeah, that's really it, honestly. I can't wait. I am itching to just let it rip, show what all this training has done. So yeah, that's all I got today. We're just gonna hang out. I'm gonna get some breakfast here in a second. I have some banana pancakes prepped. Gonna sip on some electrolytes and some juice throughout the day and see what happens tomorrow. guys, this is it. It's race morning. It's about 4 a.m. right now. I've been up since 3. I got up totally on my own, didn't even have an alarm, and I'm ready to go. I've had my breakfast. I had some bread, some honey, dried cereal, some G1M Sport, sipping on, had my coffee. So I'm ready. This is it. I cannot wait. I am so ready to race. I would be lying if I said I wasn't nervous, because I am very nervous. I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself. I know that everything I could have done, I did, and that's all I can control. So, gotta trust in the training, trust in my coach, and all there's left to do is do it, honestly, as silly as it sounds. So, yeah, I'm definitely overthinking some stuff. Last night I was worried that, like, oh, was I eating enough? Did I not eat too much, whatever. And I mean, I stuck with plan. I stuck with what I knew. I stuck with what I've been doing this whole time. It's been working, so I know I'm fine. Just, again, I care and I put a lot of pressure on myself, so just gonna leave it all out there. That's really it, honestly. So now just getting ready, gonna leave pretty soon here. The race is about 35 minutes away from where I live, so easy drive. Weather should be decent. It's calling for like low 60s to start. There's a chance for rain about an hour in, so we'll see how that goes. I don't know if this might be the last time you see me until after. I know my fiance might be taking my phone to document a little bit, but I don't think there's a tracking service, so she's probably just gonna hang out at the start, which is also the finish line. This race is pretty much only up and down a river, or down and up a river, I should say. It starts north and then goes almost completely due south, and then you turn around, cross the river, and go back straight north. So again, the finish is essentially the start line too. And so if my fiance were to try to, follow along, she wouldn't be able to see me at all. So she'll probably just hang out. And yeah, this is it. Hopefully this will be the BQ. I have some goals in mind, but again, we're just gonna see what happens. So I appreciate everyone following along, and this has been quite a journey. So thank you, everybody.
Babe, all the way through. Keep pushing.
Taking about
many more marathon finishers.
Taking about
Clark Hawkins,
50
McCollum Miller,
to get
Evan
this
Brown. Good job today.
So I finished like an hour 16 ago, roughly. I could not walk for how long? What?
Like an hour,
yeah,
at least, hour and a half maybe.
I completely seized up from the waist down, and could not move at all. And so luckily Kayla and a medic person, like, they just held me like this for, it was probably like 15-20 minutes. I also realized I'm not speaking very fully right now. That doesn't make any sense, but I'm kind of coming back to right now. yeah, so it took me quite a while to like be able to flex my hips or my knees at all. And then finally, after like 2 or 3 tries, sat in a chair, which was pretty cool. So I had a little bit of water and Gatorade because I like the first like 15 or 20 minutes, I couldn't down anything. And so yeah, I sat in a chair for a bit. And then got some BioFreeze on my knees, and yeah, it took a while to finally stand up. I don't know. My CNS is for sure fried right now. On the course, I had a gel right around mile 5, which was what I normally did in training, and that was my plan for today. And then had one at like 10 roughly, or a little before, which was like the same pace that I did during workouts. And right around then I noticed it didn't really sit as well as it did in workouts, so I was a little worried. And then right around like mile 13 or so, right around the half, it was getting kind of difficult to hold goal pace, and I really started to worry. I wouldn't be lying if I said I had a few tears of frustration. But yeah, so not quite what we wanted. I definitely thought I was going to be able to hold like sub 640 or even 30s based on how workouts have been going. But it is also, what was the weather like?
Like 67, 100% humidity.
Okay, so
And it was like a code yellow for the race instead of green.
Yeah.
So not ideal.
I mean, it certainly had an effect, I would say.
Yeah.
So I guess we just learn from here. My legs are really tight right now. So yeah, I know this is kind of long, but that's about where I'm at right now. A little frustrated, but also still PR. And what was my place?
Ninth
overall.
for the marathon, yeah.
Okay, so we'll take it. So,
Let the record show this is the third time I've told him. This is the first time he's remembering.
to be fair, she tried to tell me something about the pace updates, like the text pace updates. Like
it was kind of jacked.
Like right after.
Yeah.
Long story. She tried to tell me something about that, like a little bit after finishing. I was not comprehending a thing. My brain was not with it. So I apologize if I'm not sounding the best right now, or like if I'm repeating myself. But anyway, that is the marathon. Boston is still the goal. I think now we just learn from it, find another one, hopefully in cooler weather, and get to it, get home, try to roll out, get some food. So yeah. Well, it's not the most graceful walk, but we're walking again. I'm definitely feeling a lot better physically than I did post-race. So we'll start with post-race. Right after finishing, I walked like maybe 10 steps, and then immediately my whole lower body just seized up, and my legs were buzzing, and I could not move at all. So a medic came over, and she was super helpful, super kind, super understanding. She helped me just stand there so I didn't fall over. Finally, I saw Kayla maybe like 20 feet away. So she came over. Kayla was holding one arm like this. My arm was literally like this. My other arm was with the medic like this. And I just stood there like this, literally for probably 15 or 20 minutes. I wasn't necessarily nauseous, but definitely was not able to put down any sort of fluids, let alone solids. So we just stood there for a while. Maybe 20 or 30 minutes later, we finally got a chair as I was able to like barely crawl forward. I don't mean literally crawl on my hands and knees, but like I could take like baby half steps at best. And so we finally got a chair. I took a few attempts to try to sit and it didn't work. So finally, I stepped farther away in front of the chair than normal, and then just kind of like fell back and plopped in it because that was all I could do. I could not flex my knees. I couldn't flex my hips. And then finally just sat there for a while. Another medic came over just to check my heart rate and it was fine. It was like 90. So I was recovering well physiologically and like cardiovascularly, I should say. So there's no rhabdo or anything severe like that. But yeah, we just hung out for at least an hour right there. Again, the medic staff were just so phenomenal. And so we got a little bit of water, a little bit of Gatorade, and by a little bit, like, I mean, I was almost only able to stomach like very, very small sips. I probably had a total of like 2 or 3 of those tiny little plastic cups they had, and that took a while to get down. So we just hung out, finally was able to stand up and straight leg walk very, very slowly. Once I got moving, it felt a little better. We were finally able to walk to the car in the parking garage and then go home. But yeah, so again, physically, I'm feeling a lot better than I did yesterday. This morning, I did a very, very easy swim just to kind of move myself. And that felt awesome. I still have a lot of tightness and soreness in my legs and my hip flexors also. I definitely won't be running at least for another couple days at least. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't. Like, I am not physically there right now. So recovery, I think, is going decently well as best I can. I mentioned my appetite yesterday. Like I said, it took a while to be able to drink some water and Gatorade. I had another Gatorade on the way home and did not feel like eating anything. I didn't eat anything solid post-race until probably maybe 3:30 or 4 p.m. And the race ended, I finished just after 10 a.m. at like 10:02. So that's pretty typical for me, especially like really long runs or really hard workouts, especially in the summer. I lose my appetite very quickly and it doesn't come back for a while. So this didn't surprise me at all. I was expecting to not have any appetite. That's partly why I had that Gatorade on the way home, because I needed some sort of calories post-race. It wasn't a lot, but I needed something. So finally was able to eat a little bit and then stopped before I normally finish eating, because again, my appetite wasn't there. Had some more food later in the night and felt a little better. But if you've ever had any sort of like intense race, like a marathon or some sort of intense exercise, you know that the delayed hunger is real. Today I have been ravenous. I can't fill up at all. I have a massive appetite, and so again, that's just normal for me. That's my CNS and my digestive system catching up after the large amount of stress it was put under yesterday. So yeah, that's going to be the name of the game for at least the next few days, is a lot of rest, a lot of eating, recovering, and hopefully I'll start to feel better, even better than I am now pretty soon. So let's get into a little bit about the race itself and the course. This was almost straight up and down, I should say, from north to south to north of the Fox Valley River. And there were really 4 races going on at once, but 3 actually at the same time. They have the 5K, the half marathon, the 20 miler, and the full marathon. The 20 miler is often used for like a last chance warm up, or not, I shouldn't say last chance, a last big workout before the Chicago Marathon, because it's always 3 weeks prior to the Chicago Marathon. So the half, 20, and full started at the same time yesterday. The 5K starting like 10 minutes after, and part of the race was combined the same course for all 3 of those races. the course layout, I'll show a picture here on the screen. But again, the full starts north and it goes almost directly south along the lake, or along the river, and then crosses the river, and then it goes north a couple miles, and then we cross the river again and do a loop a second time, and before we go straight up north to the finish. And I had looked at the course map a few times a few months ago, and did notice that there was a part that said full marathon does this loop again. And again, noticed it, but then didn't really think much of it until like actually in the race. And so I came upon this part. We crossed the river at the southernmost point, and then immediately turned a left into like this wooded area. And for the most part of the course was pretty flat until we got to this one point crossing the river into the woods. And there were a lot of sudden steep inclines and declines. Especially even though in the first round of going through this part, I got down to like a 7:30, 8-minute, 8:15 pace, and that was a little demoralizing. I did, like I said, I did see this in the course map a while ago, but probably did not pay enough attention to it as I should have and prepared for that. So that was a little frustrating. There were also some parts that maybe weren't laid out or marked as well as I would have hoped. There were a few times where like we would be running along the river in between some buildings, and there were like really, really narrow sidewalks that had walls on either side, so you couldn't go anywhere other than just barely straight if you were careful. And then those would turn into a very sharp 90-degree angle turn that went steep incline. A couple other things that were a little hard to navigate for sure. Another part being on that second loop that I talked about, that was where we crossed paths with the 20-miler racers and the half marathon racers. And so there was a point at least maybe 2 miles long of a straightaway where there were a ton of people on the track on the course. A lot of the people were running either side by side or in groups of 3 side by side. So that was a little tough to navigate too, but overall pretty fast course. Again, like I said, I probably didn't prepare well enough looking at the map before. So those surprises were kind of frustrating too. The days leading up to the race, the weather was calling for a chance of rain and maybe storms like an hour into the race. And so I had been monitoring that just to kind of mentally prepare. I love running in the rain, so that doesn't matter to me. But the biggest concern was like the possibility of slippery courses with wet leaves. Definitely did not want to run into that for sure. Luckily, by the time we got there, it was not raining. It was fairly overcast, but no rain. The announcer even said before that there was not even rain in the forecast, so that was good. They did have it as a yellow precautionary warning instead of a green because of the humidity, and it was humid for sure. It had rained the night before, and it didn't let up. The humidity didn't let up. It was about like 70 to 75 degrees and 100% humidity, and that definitely took a toll on me. That's not to make an excuse, but in all honesty, like it is a factor. It is a factor for sure. My body is pretty sensitive to heat and humidity, and especially like I've learned throughout these couple summers of marathon training that I don't respond well to running in the heat. It's really hard for me to keep pace. It's really, really hard to keep gels and fluids down. So that is definitely a hindrance in my performance. And I showed yesterday for sure. My strategy for fueling was every 4 to 5 miles take a gel, which is exactly what I've done in workouts in the past several months. And those have felt fine. And so I kept that again yesterday in the race. Had my first gel right about mile 5, and that felt all right. I drank a little bit more fluids before the race, in that like half an hour to an hour before the race yesterday than I usually did before workouts. I think I kind of got in my head about the humidity, and I really wanted to prepare for that properly. So when I had that gel, I did feel a little sloshy in my stomach for that first gel, but didn't really think much of it. And then second gel, about mile 9.5 to 10, went down okay. I did kind of start to feel a little bit uneasy with it. Again, with a little extra fluids that I've been taking in, and also the heat that does, like I said, it does play a factor in my GI. And then my plan again, so mile 15 would have been my next gel, and I took it. Right after that, I really started to feel it in my stomach, and would not want to take anything else. About mile 20 to 21, I grabbed my fourth gel, opened it, and got like maybe a pea-sized drop on my tongue and swallowed it, and I just immediately tossed the gel. So I could not finish it. If I had tried to finish it, I'm certain I would have either thrown up or stopped running or both. It would not have been good at all. So by then I had like 5.5 miles left, and I was done. I had to just grin and bear it for the rest without any nutrition. Because at that point I had felt that trying to take in some more would have been more detrimental than not taking in any more calories until the end. And so that was definitely a factor. It really did hinder my performance. And that's something I really, really need to keep practicing for my next race. It was about like halfway through the race at the half marathon mark that I really did start to get a little worried. I noticed that it was a lot harder to maintain a 6:45 pace than it should have been. I've said before, like the last few months of workouts, especially adding in marathon pace blocks, like I've felt so good. I was easily holding 640s, 630s, sub 630, like even pushing 620 and 615, and it felt like a breeze. And so, especially like I said, at the halfway point yesterday, when I noticed that 645s were really hard, I was getting worried. I did have a few moments where I was starting to tear up. I was like, this is frustrating. This is not going to go well. And that, I mean, it happens. It happens. I tried a few bursts here and there of like trying to get down to like a 630 pace, 620 pace if I could. And I was really only able to hold those for like 30 seconds to a minute at most, until one, I just felt sick. I really did not feel great. And then just my legs were not able to keep up. So that, again, very frustrating, especially knowing how I had done in the past. So again, it is frustrating. With a final time of 3:01, I was hoping for 5 to 10 minutes faster. But you know, it's still a 20-minute PR, and that is really incredible. I'm very proud of that. And so we'll take it for what it is, and we'll keep working forward. So how am I feeling emotionally? The best way I can describe it is with a baseball analogy. And if you've ever played baseball, or at least hit batting cages with a friend or a machine, you know the feeling of squaring up to a fastball right down the middle, hitting it square on the barrel of the bat where you don't even feel a thing. You see the ball just fly off the bat, a guaranteed home run, and then it's as if the most imperfect gust of wind comes and just barely pulls the ball in from a home run, and the center fielder makes an easy catch right in front of the warning track, and you're out. That's honestly kind of how I feel right now. The last few weeks of workouts, especially, I've said before, have gone so well, and I had some really, really high expectations for myself to get a really solid time. And something happened yesterday, and it did not go as planned. Kind of took the wind out of my sails a little bit. Pretty anticlimactic, but it does happen. That is part of endurance running and marathons. The marathon is unforgiving. There are so many factors that can play into a good race, a not so good race. So really the only thing moving forward now is to reflect and learn, and then try again soon. Hopefully I'll be able to find another race fairly soon. I do need to take a little bit of time off to let my body recover and mentally recover from like the hard training and the regimented training, just to kind of get into just running, and that's it. But I do want to find another race fairly soon. I think for my body, it would be more beneficial to find one later in the fall, like hopefully November or even like late October, or maybe like a February, early March race, just so I can almost guarantee that the weather will be pretty cool. Because yeah, I mean, the goal is still Boston. The goal is still sub 255 at least, and we'll go from there. That's what the hope is for now. I think one of the more frustrating parts I've found for myself is that yes, I wanted to hit under 2 hours and 55 minutes to qualify for Boston, but I did the math, and what's I think even more disappointing or frustrating myself is I was 4.2 seconds per mile off of a sub 3 race, and there's this phenomenon where you're in the middle of a really, really hard effort, and you know in the moment while you're doing this effort, you are giving 100%. You cannot be trying any harder. You're giving it all you have and you're emptying your tank. And once that effort ends and you look back on it, you find some way to critique yourself. You find some way to think that I know I could have done something better in this moment. You pick out those flaws, those mistakes you made, and maybe even have a little bit of regret in how you handled it. And I know about this phenomenon. I've experienced it before. And so in this race yesterday, especially during the last half of the marathon where it was really, really getting tough, I thought about this phenomenon, and I was like, I know I'm going to think about this after the race. I know the race is almost done. It's going to come very soon. Even though it hurts right now, it's going to come very soon. And I know immediately after the race, and I know the hours and the days after the race, I know I'm going to have that feeling where I'm going to look back. I'm going to find something that I know I could have done better. I'm going to look for something. I'm going to look for something to critique myself on, to get frustrated about, that if I would have tried harder in this segment of the race, or if I would have just pushed a little harder, I would have maybe gotten sub 3. And I'm feeling that right now. But in that moment, I knew I was going to have that feeling after. And so I consciously was aware that I have to be pushing with 100% of my effort right now. And I did. And yeah, there were definitely times where I probably could have changed things. Maybe I didn't take it out as fast as I should have. I mean, I had a couple conversations with my coach, Ryan, and the plan was to try to even split the whole race as well as possible. And I would go out the first mile at about a 6:35 pace, which is still 5 seconds faster than BQ time. And after that first mile, I would hold anywhere from 6:25 to 6:30 based on how I feel. If I had to go down to a 6:35, that's fine too. But somewhere in that 5 to 10 second range was where I was just going to hold it and cruise for as long as I could. And then if I still had stuff in the tank, come mile 20, 22, I would push to the end. But that was my strategy. And looking back, maybe I should have pushed a little faster on some of those miles. Maybe that would have made up for that 4.2 seconds per mile. Maybe that would have hurt me even more. Maybe that would have put me in a farther deficit and I would have tanked even harder at the end. I don't know. No, I will never know. But that is the frustrating part, where I really, really wanted that 2 in front of my time and didn't get it. But again, this is certainly a great learning experience. I still have a tremendous amount to be proud of, especially coming off of an injury last year. So overall, I can't complain. Another thing I think I might have been able to help my performance was where I did my workouts. I started a few months ago during my speed workouts on a track and kind of grew to love it. I started doing more longer marathon pace workouts on the track too. And there's something about just being able to completely turn my mind off and hold a pace and just cruise. And I found that really enjoyable. I found it really easy to do. The benefits of the track are they're flat. There's no cracks. There are no like sudden turns. There are no cars. You don't have to plan your route. And I did basically all my workouts in the past few weeks leading up to the race on the track. And while yes, like that does help for those reasons I just said, like maybe it wasn't the best decision because I got used to a flat course. I got used to not having to think. And I don't know, maybe that was a detriment. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But maybe next race prep, I start to do more marathon pace stuff on the road where there are more instabilities, more variables. I don't know. So that's something for me to consider. That's something for me to maybe offer you guys as advice if you're in a marathon prep. The track is great for leg turnover and speed stuff, but again, it doesn't always completely replicate like a true race course. So what's next? Like I said, I do want to find another race fairly soon. Hopefully, like I said, early spring or late fall for cooler weather. One good thing about where we are in the year right now is we're just at the start of the Boston Cycle. They recently changed a little bit, and so right now, any races that qualify would be for 2027. So if I had qualified yesterday, I would be qualified for Boston 2027. But even though I didn't, I could still find one up until the cutoff next September. I believe it's September. And any race until then, if I qualify, I'll still be in for 2027, assuming I'm accepted. So it's not like me not qualifying yesterday makes me wait until 2028. So that is a good thing. But now, like I said, we're just going to try to find something and maybe plan a little better. So those are my post-race thoughts. That's my recap. Again, I am so grateful for everyone following along and for supporting me. This has been an incredible journey. I truly love the marathon and training for it. So for now, that's a wrap, but we're going to find something soon and hopefully get to Boston and an even faster marathon. So I appreciate everyone. Thank you very much.